Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of this F1 25 driver career mode as ourselves driving as Joshua Pearce with Apex GP. If you did miss the last episode, it was part 4 of the series with Max Verstappen claiming victory at the Bahrain Grand Prix with Piastri and ourselves on the podium. That's right, we got ourselves our first ever podium and the first ever podium for Apex GP. It was a very chaotic end to the Grand Prix with all of these disqualifications after a Yuki Tsunoda spin while trying to get the position back from ourselves. He spun and blocked the circuit, resulting in 4 disqualifications, and it was absolutely crazy scenes, along with the 2 DNFs we had throughout the Grand Prix as well, to only make it 16 finishes. Going into this race weekend, Max Verstappen takes control of the Drivers' Championship by 4 points to Oscar Piastri. Norris in third, 2 points behind his teammate. Myself in P5, 2 points behind Yuki Tsunoda. And our teammate Hayes in P22. He is yet to score a point. McLaren lead the Constructors' Championship by 11 points to Red Bull Racing. Then it's Ferrari in third, 39 points behind. Apex GP, we find ourselves in 6th. 3 points behind Mercedes, and we're going to jump straight to some upgrades for the chassis department. We've got some new tyre blankets which should help our tyre wear and also our prep, especially in qualifying. This will come in before Imola, but rushing it will bring it in before Miami at a higher failure rate. So we're just going to do a standard development rate on this one to try and make sure it does come in at the first part of the season. We need these improvements to come in. Durability, the MGH improvement here is upgrade, and this one will come in in the same time frames as the tire blanket, so standard development for this one as well. And the powertrain, it's an ECU upgrade which will help with the fuel efficiency, and that is something we have been struggling so far this season, is our fuel, most notably at the Chinese Grand Prix, where we were probably on for a race win, but unfortunately the fuel did come in as an effect. We've got 2 upgrades on the car this weekend. A new rear floor under tray and a new material for the turbo is being run for the car, and we'll take a look now at the larger scale. So it is McLaren still the fastest car on the grid to Red Bull, and Red Bull, they've brought upgrades this weekend to close some of the gap down to McLaren. That is Ferrari overtaking Mercedes, so Ferrari find themselves as the 3rd fastest car, and then it's still extremely close between the rest of the pack, including the Racing Bulls. They're now just getting ahead of us, and we have also increased the performance gap to Sauber as we get into qualifying.
Welcome to the Jeddah Corniche, one of the fastest circuits on the calendar. But let's see who will be fastest of them all. We're about to set the grid for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Yes, it's qualifying.
This is definitely one of the best tracks to qualify at on the calendar. It's fast, it's flowing, and the concrete walls are very, very close, as we'll very quickly find out in our first flying lap here in qualifying 1. We skateboard across the top of the curve there, so there is no room for error around this circuit for us to do a very good lap around here. We get a little bit held up with Pierre Gasly. The dirty air in this game very, very strong, and very, very apparent that it was there going through the final corner there. So we set a P5 lap time, and that will be that for that set of tyres, and we have to go onto a fresh set. We've got 6 minutes left in the session. We set a purple middle sector, so we are doing quite well. We're a full second up on our previous best lap time, and that will put us at a provisional P2 at the moment, and we will stay 2nd position. So Norris is fastest in qualifying 1 by a 10th of a second to myself. Then it's Max Verstappen in 3rd, nearly 2 tenths behind. Sonny Hayes is in 9th. He's 6 tenths behind and knocked out in qualifying 1. The 2 Racing Bulls, Hadjar ahead of Lawson, Alex Albon, Kimi Antonelli, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Esteban Ocon, which is actually a surprising exit considering his rookie teammate, Oliver Behrman, who was up in P5. So a very, very strange session there for Esteban Ocon as we get it all wrong going through the first sector there. And I will actually be backing out of the lap, especially now that we're being overtaken by the Williams of Carlos Sainz. So that Williams still looks very good in a straight line, doing just Williams things. So we back out of it, and we'll go to a fresh set of tyres, and this will be our only lap we'll actually end up doing in this second part of qualifying. So we need to make this one count as we cross the line, and that is going to be a 4th position. So we make it into qualifying 3 for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, which is absolutely wicked stuff. Max Verstappen is fastest in qualifying 2 by 2 tenths ahead of Charles Leclerc. Then it's Lewis Hamilton in 3rd, half a second behind. Myself in 4th, 6 tenths behind. And Stroll, Behrman, and Gasly, they're a couple of surprise names to see inside the top 10, knocked out in qualifying 2. Sonny Hayes by only 5 hundredths of a second, so very close to making it to Q3. Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, Nico Hulkenberg, Carlos Sainz, and Jack Doohan also not making it to the final part of qualifying. And speaking of the final part of qualifying, you saw that we locked it up going to the final corner, and this is our only lap that we're going to be doing in this session, and it's P2. It is P2. So it's a front row start for ourselves, but how close? Only 13 thousandths of a second. We missed out by, for another pole position, our second one of the season, by such fine margins, and that lock-up at the final corner could have been what cost us the pole position, but I could have found that 13 thousandths absolutely anywhere on the circuit, so I can't pinpoint it down to that exact moment. Oscar Piastri, though, another interesting one, did not set a lap time, so we'll go straight to the Grand Prix.
Welcome to one of the fastest races in the entire calendar, and while it's one of the newer races on the F1 World Tour, it's already staked its reputation as a fan favourite. It's Jeddah, and it's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah street circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Joshua Pearce completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, George Russell and Hamilton, Gasly, Stroll, Behrman and Oscar Piastri, Hayes, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda and Sainz, Doohan, Hadjar, Liam Lawson and Alex Albon, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Ocon and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'll give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
All right, let's have a quick radio check, please. Radio check. Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Another podium would be absolutely beautiful to have this race weekend. One thing I've only just remembered that I completely blanked on mentioning is that we've been nerfed. So yeah, just throwing that one out there, we've lost all the R&D points that we probably would have been gaining from this episode. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a bug with the game release and it gave us way too many points, but hopefully we used those points that we did get to good use, because we're starting on the front row and we get a really good start here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and we'll go down the inside at turn 1 against Lando Norris and we'll cut across him, and that is us now up into the lead. And now all we have to do is just try and absolutely bolt. We've already got half a second over him, and hopefully we can use these medium tyres to good effect through the first sector here. Max Verstappen is in P4. Hamilton has managed to get past his old teammate George Russell, and that puts him up to P5. Stroll has held his own, and he's in P7. So is the Alpine of Pierre Gasly up in P8. Piastri is battling it out with Oliver Behrman, so Piastri definitely going to be on a bit of a damage limitation drive here today to try and get himself back into the pointy end of the top 10, but he cannot be doing that if he is being overtaken by Oliver Behrman. He'll go to the outside. He'll now get, with the new DRS detection point, he should be getting the DRS coming down this straight, but it is only lap 1. So if it was activated, he would have well and truly had the DRS. But our teammate, Hayes, where does he come from? Because he's going to sweep across and he's going to get them both at turn 1. And he now catapults himself up to P9. Absolutely out of nowhere. Brilliant stuff from our teammate. We go back to the pointy end of the top 10. Charles Leclerc doesn't want to waste any time behind these McLarens of Lando Norris, and that will get him up into P2. But once again, as I mentioned in the last lap, this time around, the DRS has been activated, and so he will probably be under a bit of threat here from the DRS behind of Verstappen and Lando Norris. They both have their DRS flaps open, but so does his teammate, Lewis Hamilton. Is he going to lose out of position here? Verstappen goes to the outside of turn 1. We'll give him the inside for turn 2. They're 2 by 2 as they head through turns 1, 2, and 3. Verstappen, though, he'll tuck in behind Charles Leclerc. Behind him, though, Hamilton, Norris, they're still going side by side, and this is a section of the track that you do not want to be going side by side. You just lose so much time. They'll continue to go side by side, but you can see that he's lost now over a second to the top 3, and so that has pretty much now put them out of contention very early on before possibly trying to get up to the lead here. But anything is possible around this Jeddah Corniche street circuit. Leclerc, though, he finds himself back into P2. Verstappen now using the DRS to try and get the better straight line speed to get himself further up the grid here. And could he possibly pull off a similar move as he did last lap? He'll go to the outside, which will give him the inside once again. But is he going to be able to get the power down? It looks like the outside line there at turn 2 is going to have the better traction. And once again, that is proving the case as Charles Leclerc holds onto that second place. But our teammate, he's under attack from the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. They'll go side by side through here and probably lose quite a bit of time. But Hayes does manage to just hold on from the Alpine there. Hamilton, he is now looking quite racy. He's managed to, he's been pushing really hard. He's managed to get himself back to Leclerc and Verstappen using the DRS. And these guys here, you'll notice my gap was over 2 seconds only about a lap ago. It's now hovering just under 2 seconds. So these guys are essentially doing the esports strat here of DRS swapping, where down the straight, so they're not losing really each other time. They're just swapping positions with the DRS, and ultimately, very slowly, they are catching me, which is a little bit concerning because I've got zero help out up front. I don't have any slipstream from anyone else, and I do not have any DRS benefits from anyone else as well. And so we're a bit all over the place, and especially through there as I get a little bit distracted from the first objective of the Grand Prix popping up, and that is for us to achieve a very quick lap time. And so that is exactly what we're going to do. Mark is saying that we're losing time. It's now 1.7 seconds, 1.6 seconds to Lewis Hamilton there in P2. And so we need to be pumping out some quick lap times. But what is this going to do to our tyre strategy? You saw that it was going to be a very close one-stop strategy for us up on the screen. And if an early safety car does come out, I am going to be very tempted to try and go for a two-stopper, but we'll stick it out for the one-stop. I think the one-stop is probably going to be the way to go, but we need to look after these tyres as we go through this Grand Prix. Stroll ahead of our teammate. Our teammate is doing really well. He's up into P8 now as Alonso is looking to get himself past Yuki Tsunoda there of the Red Bull. So that's another car trying to do a bit of damage limitation to get himself back up inside the top 10 of Yuki Tsunoda there. And Mark now saying that our tyre wear, so exactly what I've just been saying, that we need to look after these tyres. He's saying that our tyre wear is too much and we now need to switch to the two-stop. So I confirm the strategy change because he's going to have more information than me. And you can see that the gap is now only 1 second. So these tyres are definitely falling off a cliff. They don't really feel like it from behind the cockpit. But you can see the slide that I had coming out the final corner there. So these tyres 100% are starting to go off only at lap 6. So that's not a very good sign for ourselves and probably not even our teammate as well. They're probably seeing the data from myself out in the clean air, whereas he's a little bit further back into the pack, and I don't know what to say. It's going to be a difficult day in the office if we do have to switch to this two-stop and we don't get any safety car benefits coming from it. So if it's a green flag for the rest of the way, we could be struggling here as we now look like we're going to lose the lead from Charles Leclerc. He goes to the outside, but we cut him off on the exit at the final corner and hold on to P1 just for now. But we're going to be boxing this lap to go onto the hard tyres, and we get it all crossed up coming into the pit lane, so we're really pushing it. And these tyres obviously very, very low on grip at the moment. Before I coming into the pit lane, I did check it, so my fronts are the fronts are fine. It's the rears are really struggling around here, and so they were already up towards about the 50% wear mark, only 6 and 7 laps in, which is absolutely insane tyre wear. And it gets me wondering as well, maybe the heat of just Jeddah, Jeddah being a desert, could that be putting in a factor into my insanely high tyre wear. As now we've caught up to the back of Esteban Ocon. We need to go through all of this traffic as quickly as possible. These guys aren't on my strategy, but we just need to make sure we get through them as quickly as possible. We get rid of Ocon very quickly using our grip advantage on the exit there of the corner. We've got a yellow flag in front of us, and we're very rapidly closing in on Isaac Hadjar as he slams the brakes right before the braking zone, which caught me off guard. It's Yuki Tsunoda there going off the runoff there, and he's got an engine failure. So that is him and that Red Bull car done and dusted here in Jeddah. That was very sketchy. Very, very sketchy. They nearly rear-ended Isaac Hadjar there, which would have definitely put an end to probably both of our races with the closing speed I had. We are very quickly being able to get through this small train of cars and now dispatching Liam Lawson, and that will put us up into P13. Now we can try and chase down Oliver Behrman in that Haas, but back to the front of the field. Max Verstappen, he is looking to try and get the lead off the Grand Prix. They're 3 wide for the lead of the Jeddah Grand Prix. A little bit of contact there, a bit of sparks coming from Lewis Hamilton's car as he made small contact there with Max Verstappen. Now goes side by side down the main straight. Verstappen, though, he'll have the DRS, and so he'll get the lead going into turn 1, and so it's Red Bull leading 2 Ferraris, then a McLaren in P4, but he's under attack from the Mercedes of Russell, but he'll hold on to the position just for now. Moving to lap 10 now, Lewis Hamilton, he'll use the DRS this time around. Charles Leclerc a bit too far back this time to try and make a attack on Max, and Lewis will take the lead going to the end of lap 10. But again, this new DRS detection point is proving to be something that the AI drivers either aren't factoring in to their battles, or it's just a case of they're just sending dive bombs, because once again Max Verstappen will take the lead, but another lead change is going to be very, very good to be watching here, as Piastri, he hasn't actually been going through the field as quickly as I thought. He's only P8. He hasn't even been able to get by Sonny Hayes, who started behind Oscar Piastri. So our teammate just doing absolute brilliant things in our APX GP car, and Alonso battling side by side at the moment with Jack Doohan, the Alpine. So the car Fernando was only driving a few seasons ago, and he goes past Doohan, and we are now all over the back of this battle here. We get our next objective of the Grand Prix to achieve an average lap time, so he now knows that we're on the fresh rubber. We need to try and extend these a little bit longer than we can for the mediums, and so we have to try and make sure that we're just staying consistent while dispatching all of these other guys not on our strategy at the same time. We go side by side with Jack Doohan, and he's still trying to go side by side with us. Just let it go, Jack. But we're not on the same strategy. I'm going for the lead of the Grand Prix, and we made contact, and that is floor damage. That's floor damage. No, we've been battling someone who's by far not in our race, and this has resulted in, I don't know if this is going to end up causing us too much drama, but hopefully it's only just minor, very minor damage to our floor now, but that is definitely something not to be happening only not even halfway through this Grand Prix, as now the leaders are in the lane. Max Verstappen is in, and it's lap 12, so I'm definitely going to say they're on the one-stopper here, and it is the hard compound tyres that are going onto the Red Bull there, as we're going to now be passing all these guys as our very little undercut will come into effect. We go past Fernando Alonso, cut across the front of him, going into turn 1, and we've now got 3 laps left on our average lap time delta that we have to try and maintain. Is now Lewis Hamilton. He didn't want to double stack behind his teammate, so he comes in a lap later now, and this will find him losing the lead of the Grand Prix, as he'll make his one mandatory pit stop, and it is also the hard tyre, so I'm going to say for him as well, it is going to be the one stoppers. Now we do a bit of an order check here, and it's going to be myself leading the way. We're still going to do one more stop in today's Grand Prix. Then it's Fernando Alonso. He's yet to do a stop in P2. Then it's Max Verstappen rounding out the podium. The 2 Ferraris of Leclerc ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Then it's George Russell, Liam Lawson also yet to pit. Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon rounding out the top 10. Then it's Oscar Piastri, Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, Oliver Behrman. Our teammate Sonny Hayes down in P15, but I'm sure with a few more pit cycles to go, he'll find himself a little bit further ahead. Nico Hulkenberg, Kimi Antonelli, Gabriel Bortolado, Jack Doohan, Esteban Ocon, and Isaac Hadjar rounds out the field at the moment, with Tsunoda, our only non-finisher, with that engine failure only a few laps ago, as now Verstappen very quickly dispatches Fernando Alonso, and he will now start the hunt to try and chase us down for the lead of the Grand Prix. I kind of wish if I just had a bit more of a lead over Max Verstappen, had a bit more of an undercut benefit there from our early stop, because I am stuck. 2 seconds doesn't sound like a lot of time for me to be able to essentially squeezing an extra stop. Like, yes, I'm definitely going to be losing the lead at the end of this stint, but it feels like Max Verstappen is definitely way too close for this to kind of work. But we all have to wait and see how this is going to play out. We never know. We could get a late safety car. We could get something happen which will play into our favor. So we just have to keep pushing and try and see where we end up. As Stroll now, he's looking to try and get himself ahead of Oscar Piastri. And so Piastri, once again, he still hasn't made the inroads I really thought he would be able to make. He's into the, on paper, the fastest car. And there is a yellow flag ahead. I saw flashing on the box, and it's Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton is our next non-finisher of the Grand Prix with an engine failure. His race goes up in smokes. His Ferrari pulls off to the side of the road, and that is his day done here in Jeddah. And unfortunately for us, that is not the safety car we were hoping. As soon as I saw it come up on my little screen, there was a yellow flag. I really thought that we were on and we could make a two-stop here really work. But we lose the position to Max Verstappen. We pass the objective, and we now try and get back at Verstappen. We try and squeeze our way around the outside, but I run a little bit deep, and he'll cut across our nose, and we have to essentially relinquish the P1 there. We're not going to get that one back, and by the end of the lap, he's nearly pulled 2 seconds out on us. So he's definitely got the superior pace, and these guys definitely have superior tyre wear over me, because I have been on these for about 10 laps now, less than 10 laps, and they already feel absolutely terrible. So we're going to pull it into the lane and come in for our next stop. And we're going to get really crossed up this time around. So we haven't had a clean entry into the pit lane yet today. And that is going to... That's pretty much the way the race has gone, hasn't it? We've been looking so good, and then just something small happens. But we'll come in, we'll go in for another set of mediums, brand new mediums, and we'll see what we can do here. Hopefully, we come out within the top 10. It looks like we'll come out, hopefully, just behind our teammate, and we can try and get by him very quickly. And oh, that was way closer than I was expecting. Actually had to get out the throttle a little bit, but we'll use our better traction to try and go around the outside here. Hopefully he doesn't battle it too much. I kind of wish he actually backed out a bit sooner, but hey, we're a brand new team. We're still trying to find our feet a little bit here in the world of Formula One. So these are all just learning points for us to take away into the next race and the following and more future races. We get our next objective, which is to avoid high engine temperatures. But as soon as we get into the slipstream here of Stroll, Gasly, and Piastri, you can see that timer starts ticking, and we very quickly fail it. So unfortunately, I reckon our car in dirty air is not looking like it's being able to keep itself very cool. So we definitely need the fresh air, especially around a track like Jeddah, where the air temperature during the night especially is going to be so high. I know deserts generally get a little bit colder, but the air temperature around here so far this weekend has been quite high in Jeddah. Gasly, though, he's doing very well in his Alpine. As the battles continue, we managed to get by Stroll finally down into turn 1, and that is going to be us now up into P7 for us to try now chase down Oscar Piastri. As behind us now, our teammate Sonny Hayes, he is looking to get himself by Stroll, and he does quite easily, but he tucks into our slipstream, and he is now looking to our outside. But surely the team's not going to let that happen. We cut him off at turn 2. I am not having any of that. I'm not letting Sonny Hayes by me whatsoever, especially considering I'm on such fresh rubber, and he is on a bit worn hard tyres. He's on the one stop as well, as we use our superior grip, and you can see how much superior grip we've just got, being able to breeze around the outside there of Piastri around that fast sweeper. And that is us now up into P6 for us to try and chase down Pierre Gasly for a top 5 finish here today in Jeddah after starting on the front row. Alonso, he's looking to get himself into the points, but to do that, he'll have to dispatch Jack Doohan in the Alpine. He'll go around the outside at the final corner. It's going to be a drag race to work out who's going to get the DRS, but we cut to the battle between me and Piastri. I go around the outside of Piastri at turn 1. A very aggressive move from myself, and Alonso, he'll continue to look to try and go around the outside here. He'll give him the inside, but Jack Doohan's going to get the better traction, and so he will hold on to the position just for now. Going onto lap 21, well, ending lap 21 onto lap 22, we're using the DRS, and we're going to get ourselves by Pierre Gasly, but we hit the brakes a tad early, so he sends it back down the inside, but we'll finish off the move through turns 1 and 2, and that is us now up to P5, and I don't think in 3 laps time I'm going to be able to catch 14 seconds to Lando Norris to try and keep this push going further up the field, as our teammate is continuing to have battles with other drivers here inside the top 10. This will get him up into P7 if he's able to dispatch here, Oscar Piastri, but he's unable to do it going through the fast first sector, but he'll have another attempt here once with the DRS, and he'll sweep around the outside on this very fast back straight, and that is him now up into P7. Piastri, though, now finds himself under attack from Lance Stroll. Is he going to be able to hold on here, or is Stroll going to be able to gain one more position and continue the fact that it's going to be a Aston Martin double points now that Alonso has got himself by Jack Doohan? He'll look to the outside of Piastri, and he'll look to the outside of Sonny Hayes. Is he going to be able to get this move done? Surely Sonny's going to be able to get the better traction, and he will get the better traction down ahead of Stroll, and that will maintain his P7 position here, but Stroll looking very racy inside the top 8. As we now see this battle with Jack Doohan and Fernando Alonso continue. Alonso around the outside. He lost the point-paying position to Jack Doohan just a lap prior, but he gets it back with a beautiful move around the outside as Stroll gets it all sideways down the straight as he had to flick it around the outside of Sonny Hayes here, and he'll get himself now up into P7 as his battle continues to go with Fernando Alonso and Jack Doohan, but they've now got something else to take note of. There is a Williams, a very fast Williams of Carlos Sainz now in this battle as well, and they'll find themselves probably under attack from the Williams as well. They'll go 3 wide, and Alonso, he's now under attack from Carlos Sainz. Sainz down the inside of turn 1, give him the outside for turn 2, and Sainz very, very quickly in the space of only one straight has dispatched both of them, and so both of them now saying goodbye to any sort of points because Sainz has now pulled out over a second lead on the two of them as Stroll now, he gets himself ahead of our teammate Hayes, and that gets himself now up into P7. But again, this new DRS detection zone will allow Hayes to now use the DRS and get himself back up into 7th position and starting the final lap. But we'll take a look at Max Verstappen. We haven't spoken too much about him after the pit stop phase because he just absolutely drove away. He's got a lead of nearly 7 seconds to Charles Leclerc, and he'll win the Jeddah Grand Prix in Season 1 of this career mode. Charles Leclerc, he'll come across the line for a second position, followed very closely by Lando Norris in the DRS. George Russell will take a P4, and for ourselves, it's just another day of what could have been, but we have to expect these days as they continue. We're a new team. We're going to be learning. We're going to be building. And today we learned the 2-stop was not the way to go.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
And that's 2 wins in a row now. It's the start of potentially something special, but they can't get ahead of themselves just yet. It's a long way to go.
From lights out to the checkered flag, each and every driver has this moment in the back of their mind. Now it's time for their celebrations. Our podium, it awaits. And for those that have missed the Dutch national anthem, fear not. It's back again because Max Verstappen is back on the top step.
So it's another Max Verstappen victory here today ahead of Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. Norris, though, that was a crucial podium for him after his DNF in the last Grand Prix. So definitely something that he'll have to do more of if he wants to stay within championship contention. We'll take a look at the rest of the top 10. George Russell, myself, Pierre Gasly, Sonny Hayes. Finally a top 10 result for him. Lance Stroll, Oscar Piastri and Carlos Sainz. Hamilton and Tsunoda were the non-finishers in today's Grand Prix, and Verstappen will extend his lead in the Drivers' Championship to 16 points ahead of Lando Norris. Piastri finds himself 3rd, 27 points behind. Myself in 6th, 1 point behind George Russell, and Hayes now sits 13th, 3 points behind Fernando Alonso. McLaren lead the Constructors' Championship by 3 points. It's only 3 points to Red Bull. Then it's Ferrari 3rd, 38 points behind. APX GP, we move up to P5, 4 points behind Alpine. And then it's driver ratings now. We've got our experience, racecraft, awareness, pace, and focus all gain some points with an overall of level 83. And our swing continues in the driver ratings as we now go up to 53% compared to our teammate Sonny Hayes. And that is going to be all for this episode. So if you did enjoy it, please make sure to like and subscribe. And for the next episode, we'll be starting things off with another secret meeting. If you do recall from our last one, we declined future talks with Sauber to continue with APX at the moment, and so we've got our next secret meeting with a new team. I would imagine a new team, so if you would like to check that one out, next episode will be the Miami Grand Prix, so I'll see you then.